when she saw it. At first it looked like a mannequin, a pale hand poking out of a torn blanket, stiff from the cold. Vivian frowned, squinting through the snow. Then as she stepped closer, she froze in horror. It wasn't a mannequin, it was a woman. Her hair, matted with frost, stuck to her face. Her lips were blue, her eyelashes crusted with ice. And yet, beneath all that stillness, Vivian saw it, the faintest rise and fall of her chest. "Dear God," she whispered, dropping the trash bag. She knelt, brushing snow from the woman's cheek. That's when recognition struck like a slap. The face, she knew that face. Emily Carter, the girl who once ruled their high school hallways. The one who called her Invisible Viv, who laughed when others didn't. Now Emily lay in the garbage, barely alive. Vivian's hands trembled as she fumbled for her phone. Mark, it's me," she gasped. "You need to come. There's a girl here. I think she's dying." As sirens began to echo faintly from somewhere far off, the story of how Emily Carter ended up in that alley began to unfold like a haunting rewind. Hours earlier, Emily had been smiling. Dressed in a red sweater and black boots, she carried a wrapped gift. Something simple, a leather bracelet for her boyfriend, Ryan Cooper. He texted her that morning, "Can't wait for tonight. Got a surprise for you." The snow had just started falling when she arrived at his downtown apartment. Warm light spilled through the windows. Christmas jazz played softly. Ryan greeted her with a grin and a hug, smelling faintly of cologne and whiskey. "You look amazing," he said, taking her coat. She laughed. "I told you Christmas brings out my extra." They poured wine, exchanged small talk, and for a while, everything felt perfect. Until Ryan's friend Kyle showed up unannounced. "Didn't think you'd mind," Ryan said casually. "He just dropped by to toast Christmas Eve." Emily tried to hide her discomfort. She didn't like Kyle. Something about his grin always felt wrong. Still, she forced a smile and lifted her glass when they made a toast. "To good times," Kyle said, eyes glinting. "To love," Ryan added. Emily's lips touched the rim of her glass. The wine was sweet, too sweet. A few minutes later, the room started to tilt. Her laughter slurred, her vision blurred around the edges. "Ryan," she whispered, confused, I feel weird." His face was distant, warped. The next thing she remembered was falling against the couch, voices blending with music, and then nothing. When she woke, the world was spinning. Her wrists ached. The taste of metal filled her mouth. Ryan's voice was trembling, panicked. "She's not waking up, man." "She's not," Kyle snapped. "Then we take her out." No one can know Emily tried to speak, but her lips wouldn't move. Cold air hit her face as they dragged her through the stairwell. The trunk slammed shut. The sound echoed like thunder inside her skull. The drive was silent except for the hum of the heater and the faint jingle of Christmas bells from a radio commercial. When the car stopped, she felt herself lifted, then dropped. The snow cushioned the fall. She heard footsteps retreating. The engine faded away. The sky above her was a blur of white. The snowflakes felt like needles on her skin. Somewhere nearby, someone was laughing. Children, maybe, or carolers. And then it was quiet. Back in the alley, Vivian pressed her trembling fingers to Emily's neck. A pulse, weak, but there. "Hang on," she whispered, tears freezing on her cheeks. "Don't you dare die on me, Emily." Far away, sirens grew louder, slicing through the Christmas night. And in that frozen alley, beside a dumpster full of discarded gifts and forgotten leftovers, a miracle waited to happen. The ambulance doors burst open at St. Mary's Hospital, flooding the corridor with a gust of icy air. Paramedics shouted vitals as they wheeled Emily through the emergency wing. Her body was wrapped in thermal blankets, skin ghost white, lips purple, hair stiff from frost. Machines beeped frantically, trying to find a rhythm in the silence of her chest. Behind them, Vivian Miller stood frozen at the entrance, her gloves still wet, heart pounding against her ribs. She'd never seen so much blood in real life. A small trail had followed from Emily's nose down to the collar of her sweater. Mark, her older brother, barked instructions to the medical team. "Core temps critical." She was in the snow for hours. Pulse was barely there when we found her. A nurse nodded quickly. "Get the warming IV started. Let's move, people." Vivian leaned against the wall, trembling. She could still see Emily's face in the snow, the same face that used to sneer at her in high school hallways. "Invisible Viv," she used to say, surrounded by friends who laughed on cue. Vivian had spent years trying to forget those days, but tonight fate had dragged that memory out of the dark and thrown it at her feet, bleeding and frozen. She watched through the small glass window as doctors surrounded Emily's bed. Her skin looked like marble, unmoving. A nurse pressed a defibrillator pad to her chest. "Charging to 200, clear." The jolt made her body lift and fall. Nothing. Again. "Clear." A flat line hummed through the room. Vivian pressed a hand to her mouth, tears streaming. "Come on, Emily," she whispered. "Not like this." Not in the trash, Mark came out minutes later, pulling off his gloves. His face said it all. "They're still trying," he murmured, resting a hand on her shoulder. "But it doesn't look good." Vivian nodded weakly, staring at the floor tiles. The hospital hallway smelled like antiseptic and cold metal. Christmas decorations hung limp along the wall. A paper star, a string of fairy lights flickering half dead. It felt wrong, too bright for the kind of night this was. Inside the room, one doctor refused to stop. "Her body's fighting," he muttered. "There's something left." They switched to warm, saline infusion, heated air blankets, careful chest compressions. A nurse whispered a prayer under her breath. Then, a sound broke through the stillness, a sharp, trembling beep. Another, then another. Her heart had found its way back. Vivian looked up as nurses began shouting, their voices rising with disbelief. "We've got a pulse!" someone cried. She stumbled into the doorway, eyes wide. Emily's chest was rising, slow but steady. Her skin, once blue, now carried the faintest hint of pink. Mark exhaled, stunned. "That's impossible," he whispered. Vivian shook her head slowly. "No," she said, voice trembling. "That's a miracle." Outside, the snow kept falling, soft, endless, and white, covering the city in silence again. But in one small hospital room, life had decided not to give up. And for the first time in her life, Vivian Miller felt something she hadn't felt toward Emily Carter in years. Not anger, not revenge, just awe.